The snowstorm howled, a merciless beast clawing at the village, when she found him, crumpled in a ditch, his ragged coat dusted with frost. Her hands, raw from the cold, gripped his arm, dragging him through the blinding white toward her modest cottage. Inside, the fire crackled, casting shadows on the walls as she knelt beside him, rubbing his frozen hands. Then, from his tattered pocket, a key slipped free, its intricate silver design glinting with an elegance that didn't belong. He stirred, eyes fluttering open, and whispered, "Don't tell anyone." Outside, an engine's roar pierced the storm, growing louder, closer. Who's coming? Why the secrecy? But before we continue, let me take you back to how it all began. The wind screamed through Varna, a small Polish village nestled among snow-draped hills, where stone cottages huddled against the cold like old friends sharing secrets. Anna Kowalska, 34, trudged through ankle-deep snow, her scarf whipping in the gale, her boots crunching a path to the bakery. Her face, framed by chestnut curls peeking from a wool cap, was weathered yet soft, her gray eyes carrying a quiet strength born of hardship. She'd grown up hungry, her family's table often bare, until a stranger's kindness, a warm meal, a coat, changed her life. That memory drove her now, a vow to help others, though it left her heart open, sometimes too open, to those who didn't deserve it. The bakery's bell jingled as she pushed through the door, the scent of rye bread and cinnamon wrapping her in warmth. She was delivering loaves for the village's winter feast, a tradition where families shared meals under lantern-lit pines, a symbol of unity. Her hands, calloused from kneading dough and scrubbing floors, moved with purpose, but her mind wandered. Another storm, another long night. She lived alone, her cottage a sanctuary of patched quilts and faded photos, her parents long gone, her brother lost to the city. Loneliness was a familiar ache, one she buried in work. Outside, the storm worsened, snow piling against the bakery's windows like a thief trying to break in. Anna was locking up when she saw him, a figure slumped in a ditch across the road, barely visible through the blizzard. Her heart lurched. He'll freeze. Dropping her basket, she ran, the wind biting her cheeks, her breath clouding in frantic bursts. He was a man, maybe 40, his face gaunt under a scruffy beard, his coat threadbare. Homeless, she thought, her childhood flashing, her mother's trembling hands, her father's bowed head. She couldn't leave him. "Stay with me," she muttered, hooking her arms under his, dragging him toward her cottage a half-mile away. His weight was heavy, his body limp, and the snow fought her every step, stinging her eyes. "I've done this before," she thought, remembering the stray dog she'd nursed, the child she'd fed. But this felt different, urgent. Her trust, her need to save, pushed her forward, though a flicker of doubt whispered, "What if he's trouble?" Inside her cottage, the fire's glow bathed the room, illuminating a table scarred from years of meals, a shelf of mismatched mugs. Anna knelt beside him, peeling off his soaked coat, her fingers brushing a strange weight in his pocket. She ignored it, focusing on his hands, rubbing them until color returned. His face, pale and angular, twitched, and his eyes, deep brown, sharp despite exhaustion, fluttered open. "Where?" he rasped, voice rough like gravel. "You're safe," Anna said, her voice steady but kind, her eyes searching his. "Who are you?" He looked ordinary, yet something, his posture, his gaze, felt out manipulated her, a puzzle piece that didn't fit. She pushed the thought away, her trust overriding caution. "He needs help. That's enough." As she brewed tea, the storm's howl softened, but a new sound emerged, an engine, distant but deliberate, cutting through the snow. Anna froze, her pulse quickening. Who's out in this? The village was small, its roads treacherous in winter. She glanced at the man, now sitting up, his hands clutching a blanket she draped over him. His eyes darted to the window, a flicker of fear crossing his face. "Don't open the door," he said, low and urgent. Her brow furrowed, confusion mixing with unease. "What's he hiding?" Then she saw it. A key, silver and ornate, lying on the floor where his coat had fallen. Its design was intricate, a logo she didn't recognize, far too luxurious for a drifter. Her fingers hovered over it, but his hand shot out, snatching it back. "It's nothing," he said, too quickly, tucking it into his pocket. Anna's trust wavered, her flaw, her blind kindness, blinding her to the warning. I should have asked more, she thought, but her heart, shaped by years of giving, dismissed it. He's scared. That's all. The engine's roar grew louder, headlights flashing through the cottage's frosted windows. Anna's stomach knotted. She moved to the door, peering out, but the snow obscured everything. "Stay here," she told him, her voice firm despite the tremor in her chest. She grabbed a lantern, stepping into the storm, the cold biting her skin. A black SUV idled at the road's edge, its driver hidden behind tinted glass. Her breath caught. Why are they here? The vehicle lingered, then sped off, leaving tracks in the snow. Back inside, the man was on his feet, his posture tense, his eyes scanning the room like a trapped animal. "You shouldn't have gone out," he said, his tone sharp but laced with worry. Anna's temper flared, her trust strained. "I don't even know your name, and you're telling me what to do?" She crossed her arms, her gray eyes blazing. He hesitated, then softened. "Tomasz," he said, the name simple, local, but his voice carried an edge, a hint of something more. "I'm Anna," she replied, her anger cooling. "And you're my home. If you're in trouble, tell me." He looked away, his jaw tight, and she saw it again, that flicker of secrecy. What's he not saying? Her mistake hit her. She'd let him in too easily, ignored the key, the engine, the signs. Her kindness had made her vulnerable, and now danger felt close, its breath on her neck. The winter feast loomed, its preparations a heartbeat of Varna's spirit. Anna thought of the lanterns, the shared bread, the songs her mother taught her. "Community keeps us whole," she'd said, her voice warm in memory. Anna wanted to protect that, but Tomasz's presence threatened it. She offered him soup, her hand steady but her mind racing. Why that key? Who's after him? As they ate, a twist unfolded. A knock rattled the door. Anna opened it to find Merrick, the village baker, his face grim. "Anna, there's talk," he said, glancing at Tomasz. "Strangers asking about a man in rags. They're offering money for information." Her heart sank, her eyes flicking to Tomasz, who froze, spoon midair. He's being hunted. She should have questioned him, but her trust had blinded her, a mistake she couldn't undo. Merrick left, and Anna turned to Tomasz, her voice low. "What have you brought to my home?" He met her gaze, his eyes heavy with guilt. "I didn't mean to," he said, his voice breaking. "I just needed time." Time for what? He didn't say, but his hand brushed his pocket, where the key lay hidden. Anna's chest tightened, fear and curiosity warring within her. What's he running from? The night deepened, the storm a relentless roar. Anna gave Tomasz a blanket, pointing to the couch. "Sleep," she said, her tone clipped. But as she lay in her room, the key's image burned in her mind, its elegance a riddle. Her flaw, her blind trust, had led her here, to a stranger with secrets, to headlights in the snow. I should have been careful, she thought, her heart heavy. The winter feast songs echoed in her memory, a call to protect her village, her home. Then, another twist, a creak from the living room. Anna crept out, lantern in hand, and saw Tomasz at the window, peering into the storm. His face was taut, his hand clutching the key, and he whispered, "They're close." Her blood ran cold. "Who's they?" The cottage felt smaller, the walls closing in. She stepped forward, her voice a whisper. "Tomasz, tell me the truth." He turned, his eyes meeting hers, a storm of fear and resolve. "Not yet," he said, his voice soft but firm. "But I promise you'll know." The engine's echo lingered in her mind, a threat drawing near, and Anna knew she'd crossed a line she couldn't uncross. Outside, the snow fell, burying the world in silence, but danger was coming, and Anna's trust had opened the door. The storm's howls softened to a mournful whisper as Anna stood in her cottage, lantern light flickering across Tamash's face. His words, they're close, hung heavy, the ornate keys secret a weight between them. Outside, the snow buried Varna, but the echo of that SUV's engine lingered in her mind, a threat circling like a wolf. Who's after him? Her trust had led her to this, her blind kindness a mistake she couldn't shake. She clutched the lantern, her gray eyes sharp. You promised answers, she said, voice low but firm. Start talking. Tomash hesitated, his brown eyes darting to the window, then back to her. It's complicated, he said, his voice rough, a mix of guilt and resolve. But I swear, I'm not here to hurt you. His sincerity pierced her, but doubt gnawed. I let him in too fast. She nodded, gesturing to the couch. Sit. Explain. The fire crackled, a small comfort in the tightening tension. Varna's winter feast loomed, its lanterns glowing in her memory, a symbol of the village's heart. Anna wanted to protect that, but Tamash's secrets threatened to unravel it. As he spoke, the scene shifted to a new location, an abandoned barn on the village's edge, where they relocated at dawn to avoid prying eyes. The barn's timbers groaned under fresh snow, its air thick with dust and the faint sweetness of old hay. Sunlight slanted through cracked planks, painting stripes across Tamash's worn coat as he paced, his breath clouding in the chill. They're after me because of who I am, he said, his voice low, hands fidgeting with the key. I'm not what I seem. Anna's pulse quickened, her mind racing. Not homeless? She leaned against a rusted plow, arms crossed, her scarf loose around her neck. Then who are you? She pressed, her tone sharp but curious, her childhood lessons. Help, but be wise, echoing in her heart. Tamash's story came in fragments. He'd left Varna years ago, chasing dreams in the city, and found success, more than he'd admit. I came back from my parents, he said, his eyes distant. They're struggling, their farm failing. I needed to understand their life, live it. His disguise as a drifter was deliberate, a way to feel their hardship. But the storm had trapped him, and Anna's kindness had saved him. Her chest tightened, a mix of relief and frustration. He's not a threat, but he's hiding more. Her flaw, blind trust, had led to a mistake. Ignoring the key, the SUV, his fear. Now, she denied it, deflecting the blame. He should have been honest. But deep down, she knew her haste had invited this danger. Why the secrecy? She asked, her voice softer, searching his face. His jaw tightened, a flicker of shame crossing his features. I didn't want pity or exposure. He paused, his hand brushing the key. It's part of something bigger. For them. Before she could press further, a twist shook the fragile calm. Footsteps crunched outside, deliberate and heavy. Anna's heart leapt, her eyes meeting Tamash's in silent alarm. She doused the lantern, plunging the barn into shadow, and crept to a gap in the planks. A man in a sleek coat stood in the snow, his face hard, eyes scanning the barn. The SUV driver. Her breath hitched. He wasn't alone. Two others flanked him, their postures predatory. Tomash whispered, Janusz. He wants the land. Janusz, a developer from the city, was Varna's shadow antagonist, his greed foreshadowed in Marek's warning about strangers offering money. His goal, buy the village's farms cheap, turn them into resorts. Anna's cottage, her family's last tie, was in his sights. He's why Tomash is hiding. Her personal stakes crystallized, losing her home, her roots. She turned to Tomash, her voice a hiss. What does he want with you? Tomash's face darkened. He knows I'm a threat. I have resources. His vagueness frustrated her, but his fear was real, his hands trembling as he gripped the key. Anna's mind spun. Resources? The key? Her denial cracked. She'd trusted too easily, ignored the signs, and now Janusz was here, a vulture circling her village. But she took her first step toward correction, resolving to act. We need a plan, she said, her voice steady despite the fear clawing her chest. The barn became their war room, a reflective pause before action. Anna lit a small fire in a rusted bucket, its warmth a defiance against the cold. They sat on hay bales, mapping their next move. Tomasz sketched the village in the dirt, marking his parents' farm. If Janusz gets their land, he'll take everything, he said, his voice breaking. Anna's heart ached. She knew loss, the way it hollowed you out. Her brother's absence, her parents' struggles, flashed in her mind. I won't let that happen to them. She shared her own stakes, her voice soft but fierce. My cottage, it's all I have left of my family. Janusz wants it too. Tomasz's eyes softened, a bond forming in their shared fight. We'll stop him, he said, his hand brushing hers, a fleeting warmth. Anna pulled back, mistrust lingering. He's still hiding something. But his resolve mirrored hers, and she clung to it, a lifeline in the storm. A strategic scene unfolded as they planned to rally the village. Anna suggested the winter feast, where trust was strongest. We'll talk to the elders, she said, her mind sharp despite exhaustion. Tomasz nodded, but his hand never left the key, its significance growing clearer. A tool, a plan, something tied to his resources. What does it unlock? Anna wondered, the question a thorn in her thoughts. Their planning was cut short by another twist. A child shout outside. Jakub, a 10-year-old from the village, burst in, his face flushed from running. Anna, men are asking about him, he panted, pointing at Tomasz. They're at the bakery, showing a photo. Anna's blood ran cold. Janusz is moving fast. Jakub's wide eyes reminded her of herself at that age, hungry for safety. She knelt, her voice calm. You did good, Jakub. Stay quiet, okay? He nodded, and she sent him home, her heart racing. Tomasz's face paled, his secrecy crumbling. They've got my face, he muttered, his voice raw. Anna's temper flared. You knew they'd come, and you dragged me into this. Her denial surfaced, blaming him, but guilt gnawed. She'd invited this by trusting too quickly. Tomasz met her gaze, his eyes pleading. I didn't expect you, he said, soft but heavy. Your kindness, it changed everything. The confrontation loomed as they slipped back to Varna, hiding in the bakery cellar, its stone walls damp and cool. The air smelled of flour and yeast, a reminder of the winter feast's warmth. Anna mentored Jakub, teaching him to knead dough, a distraction from fear. His small hands mimicked hers, and she saw her younger self, resilient despite pain. I can fix this, she thought, her first step toward owning her mistake. But Janusz's men were relentless, their questions spreading like frost. A villager, tempted by money, revealed the barn's location. Anna and Tomasz fled, the cellar's trapdoor slamming behind them. They reached the village square, where feast preparations buzzed. Lanterns hung, tables set with bread. Anna's chest swelled with pride for Varna, but fear undercut it. We're running out of time. The antagonist's vulnerability showed in a tense encounter. Janusz cornered them near the square, his sleek coat stark against the snow. You can't hide forever, he sneered, his eyes on Tomasz, but a tremor in his voice betrayed pressure. Debts, investors breathing down his neck. Hand over what's mine. And a step forward, her voice steel. This village isn't yours. Janusz's smirk faltered, but he retreated, promising I'll be back. The scene ended with a shocking hook, as Anna and Tomasz hid in an alley. A villager, old Mrs. Zofia, trusted by all, approached Janusz, whispering, I know where they are. Anna's heart sank, her eyes meeting Tomasz's in disbelief. A betrayal? The feast's lanterns glowed, but treachery darkened the night. Tomasz clutched the key, his face grim. We're not safe, he said, his voice ablade. Anna's denial shattered. She'd trusted the village, just as she'd trusted Tomasz, and both had cracks. I should have seen this. But she straightened, resolve hardening. We'll face them, she said, her voice a vow. The storm had passed, but a new one brewed, and Anna knew the fight was just beginning. The alley shadows clung to Anna and Tomasz as Mrs. Zofia's whispered betrayal echoed in their ears, her words to Janusz a knife in the dark. The winter feast's lanterns glowed in Varna's square, their warmth mocking the chill of treachery. Anna's heart pounded, her gray eyes wide with disbelief. How could she? Her blind trust, first in Tomasz, now in her village, had cracked open, exposing her mistake. She gripped Tomasz's arm, her voice a hiss. "We need to move." He nodded, his face grim, the ornate key a hidden weight in his pocket. The feast's music drifted, a cruel reminder of the community she'd fought for, now fractured by greed. They slipped through back streets, boots crunching snow, the village's stone cottages looming like silent judges. Anna's mind raced. Mrs. Zofia knows the barn, the cellar. Her denial had blinded her, but guilt gnawed. She'd trusted too easily, ignored the signs. "I brought this here." Yet resolve burned brighter. "We'll fix this," she whispered, her breath clouding in the frosty air. Tomasz's eyes met hers, a flicker of gratitude breaking through his fear. "Together," he said, his voice steady, a promise. The culmination arrived swiftly, around the 4,500-word mark in a third location, the village's communal barn, where the winter feast would unfold. Its rafters sagged under fresh snow, the air thick with the scent of pine and wax from lanterns strung across beams. Tables groaned with bread and stew, the heart of varnished tradition, but danger loomed. Anna and Tomasz hid among hay bales, the key's secret burning between them. What does it unlock? Anna's question, seated in part one, demanded answers. Janusz stormed in, his sleek coat stark against the rustic wood, flanked by two men and Mrs. Zofia, her face a mask of shame. "Enough hiding," he barked, his voice echoing. "Give me the key, or this village burns." Anna's stomach dropped. "Burns?" The crowd, elders, families, Jakub among them, gasped, their eyes darting to her and Tomasz. Her personal stakes, her cottage, her roots, flashed in her mind, but so did the village's survival. "He'll destroy us all." Tomasz stepped forward, his disguise crumbling, his voice clear. "The key's mine, Janusz, and it's not for you." Anna's breath caught, the twist unfolding. He pulled the key free, its silver glinting, and revealed its truth. "It's for a trust fund, millions left to modernize my parents' farm, to save Varna." The crowd murmured, eyes wide. "He's a millionaire." Anna's heart stuttered, the key's elegance, his secrecy, snapping into place. He was no drifter, but the son of the Nowak family, Varna's struggling farmers, returned incognito to rebuild their legacy. Janusz's face twisted, his vulnerability raw. Debts, failing ventures, had driven him to desperation. "You think you can stop me?" he sneered, but his hands trembled. Anna saw it, the crack in his armor, and seized the moment. "You're done, Janusz," she said, stepping beside Tomasz, her voice ringing. "This village isn't yours." The crowd stirred, Jakub's small voice piping up, "She's right." Others joined, a chorus of defiance. The climax surged as Janusz lunged for the key, his men advancing. Anna reacted, shoving a table, bread and bowls crashing to distract them. Tomasz tackled Janusz, his strength surprising, but imperfect. He took a blow to the shoulder, wincing, his breath ragged. Anna grabbed a lantern, swinging it to keep the men at bay, its flame flickering dangerously. "We can't lose now." Her trust had faltered, but her courage burned, a fire forged from acknowledging her mistake. "I should have questioned, but I won't fail them." A second twist deepened the chaos. Mrs. Zofia, tears streaming, stepped forward, her voice shaking. "I was wrong," she cried, turning to the crowd. "Janusz promised to save my home, but he lied." Her betrayal had been fear, not greed, her cottage at stake like Anna's. She grabbed Janusz's arm, slowing him, giving Tomasz time to recover. The crowd rallied, elders blocking them in, Jakub throwing a snowball that hit one in the face. Laughter broke the tension, a spark of Varna's spirit. Anna and Tomasz fought side by side, their movements clumsy but fierce. She tripped, her knees scraping the floor, but Tomasz pulled her up, his hand warm, his eyes fierce. "We've got this," he said, a grin flashing despite the pain. The community closed ranks, their voices a wall, leave, go, until Janusz's men faltered, retreating. Janusz, cornered, dropped to his knees, the key beyond his reach. "You'll regret this," he spat, but the sheriff, summoned by Merrick, arrived, cuffs glinting. The resolution unfolded under the barn's lantern glow, the feast resuming with a triumphant hum. Tomasz revealed his plan. The trust fund would modernize the Nowak farm, creating jobs, saving homes, including Anna's cottage. The crowd cheered, their hands clapping, bread shared in unity. Anna's chest swelled, pride mixing with humility. "I trusted too fast, but I learned." Her internal monologue was a quiet vow. "I'll be wiser, but I won't stop caring." A romantic thread wove through the victory, tender yet fraught. Tomasz touched Anna's hand, his fingers rough but gentle. "You saved me first," he said, his brown eyes soft, reflecting the lanterns. Anna's heart fluttered, but mistrust lingered, his wealth, her simplicity. "You lied," she murmured, her voice raw. He nodded, shame in his gaze. "I was afraid, but you're why I stayed." External pressures tested them. Janusz's trial, the farm's costs, but Anna leaned in, her smile tentative. "We'll figure it out," she said, a second chance blooming. The finale was hopeful, yet grounded. The feast pulsed, songs rising, Jakub dancing with elders, Mrs. Zofia forgiven, her tears dried by neighbors. Anna and Tomasz stood by the barn's door, snow falling softly, their hands brushing. The community support, loaves shared, hands clasped, reflected Varna's heart, but challenges remained. A bank letter in Anna's pocket, debts to settle. "We'll face it together," she thought, her eyes on Tomasz, a promise unspoken. As lanterns swayed, Anna imagined a call to action. Subscribe to the channel to see more soul-stirring stories. The feast's warmth enveloped them, a beacon of resilience, but the snow kept falling, a reminder that storms would come again.